Right now, across England, thousands of families are paying a tax bill they legally do not owe. Families caring for a mum with Alzheimer's, a husband recovering from a stroke, a father with Parkinson's whose memory is fading, and the council will not knock on your door to tell you. One woman followed this exact process and got back nearly £15,000. Another family received a refund of £10,000, backdated for years. This is not a loophole, and it is not charity. It is written into UK law in an act from 1992, and it can wipe out some or all of your council tax. The problem is that almost nobody has heard of it, the name is confusing, and the council only pays if you ask. In the next 10 minutes, I will show you exactly what this rule is, who qualifies, what 2 documents you need, and how families are claiming refunds worth thousands of pounds. Stay until the end, because the part about backdating is where most people leave money on the table. Let's start with the rule itself, because the name is part of the reason nobody claims it. It is called the Severe Mental Impairment Disregard, or SMI for short. And yes, the wording is outdated and honestly uncomfortable. Charities like the Alzheimer's Society have said as much. But behind the ugly name sits one of the most valuable and least known reliefs in the entire council tax system. Here is the legal foundation. The Local Government Finance Act of 1992 says that a person is disregarded for council tax purposes if they have a severe impairment of intelligence and social functioning, however caused, which appears to be permanent. 2 phrases in that sentence do all the work. First, however caused. The law does not require the word dementia on a diagnosis, and that detail matters because it covers Alzheimer's, other dementias, the after effects of a stroke, brain injuries, Parkinson's with cognitive decline, and other conditions, as long as the impairment is severe and permanent. Second, disregarded. That word is the key to how the money works, and we will unlock it in a moment. Money expert Martin Lewis has called this relief shockingly underpublicized, and he is right. The government presents it inside its general council tax pages. It never activates automatically, and the terminology of discounts, disregards, and exemptions confuses even professionals, which is why organizations like Age UK, Dementia UK, and the Alzheimer's Society all maintain dedicated guides just to explain it. So if you have never heard of this, you are not careless. The system is quiet by design, or at least quiet by neglect. But once you know the rule exists, the only thing standing between your family and the money is 2 documents. Let me show you exactly which 2. Qualifying comes down to a 2-part test, and you need both parts. Miss one, and the claim fails. Get both, and the council has very little room to say no. Part 1 is medical. A doctor, usually the GP, needs to certify that the person has a severe and permanent impairment of intelligence and social functioning. Notice what is not required. There is no memory test score threshold written into the law. There is no rule that the person must live in a care home, albeit a late stage. The legal test is severity and permanence, and the doctor is the one who confirms it. Many councils have their own 1-page form for this. Manchester, for example, publishes a certificate specifically for this purpose, and the GP simply signs it. If your council has a form, use theirs. If not, a letter from the GP confirming the condition meets the legal test will do the job. Part 2 is benefits. The person must be entitled to at least 1 qualifying benefit. The list is longer than most people expect. It includes attendance allowance, which is very common for older people with dementia. It includes personal independence payment with the daily living component. It includes disability living allowance with the middle or higher rate care component. It also covers severe disablement allowance, incapacity benefit, constant attendance allowance, and universal credit where it includes the element for limited capability for work. And here is a detail that trips people up. The law says entitled to the benefit. In many cases, councils accept that entitlement is what matters, so if the person qualifies for attendance allowance but the family never got around to claiming it, sort that benefit claim out first, because it opens the door to this one. So the 2-part test is simple to state: a doctor's certificate confirming severe and permanent impairment, plus proof of a qualifying benefit. 2 documents, that is the entire evidence pack. And if you hold power of attorney, or you are a deputy for the person, you can make this application on their behalf. Councils accept that. Now, here is where it gets interesting, because what those two documents unlock depends entirely on who lives in the house. This is the part almost every article gets wrong, so let's do the math properly. SMI is not a flat discount. It does not say the council always takes some fixed percentage off. Instead, it works by changing how many adults are counted in the home. Council tax assumes 2 adults per property. Fewer counted adults means a smaller bill. A disregarded person is, for counting purposes, invisible. Scenario 1. The person with dementia lives alone. Once they are disregarded, the property has 0 counted adults, and the result is a full exemption, 100%. The council tax bill goes to 0 for as long as the situation lasts. The Local Government Ombudsman has confirmed this principle in published decisions. If the only occupant has SMI, the dwelling is exempt. Scenario 2. The person lives with 1 other adult, typically the husband or wife caring for them. The disregarded person vanishes from the count, which leaves 1 counted adult, and the household gets the single person discount of 25%. Picture a couple in an average Band D home in England paying somewhere around £2,300 a year. 25% off is roughly £575 every single year. For a care journey that lasts 5 or 8 years, that alone runs into thousands. Scenario 3. Everyone else in the home is also disregarded. For example, full-time students, or a second person who also qualifies for SMI. Depending on the exact mix, that can mean a 50% discount, or in some configurations, a full exemption. The precise outcome depends on who counts and who does not, which is exactly why you apply and let the council do the calculation, instead of assuming you do not qualify. So the honest summary is this. SMI does not automatically mean you pay nothing. It means the person is removed from the count, and the savings range from 25% all the way to 100% depending on the household. But everything I have told you so far is about future bills. The really big money, the 5-figure refunds you saw in the hook, comes from looking backwards. Here is the question worth thousands of pounds. If your dad was diagnosed 6 years ago and he qualified all that time, can you claim those 6 years back? And the answer is yes, in many cases you can. And this is where the headline refunds come from. Money Saving Expert has documented families getting back around £10,000. In one case, the refund came to nearly £15,000, covering several years of overpaid council tax. Those numbers are real, reported cases. But I need to be straight with you about how backdating actually works, because this is where the system gets messy. There is no single national rule that guarantees every council will backdate to the same point. Some councils, like Aberdeen, state openly that the discount can be backdated to the date the person first met the criteria. Others handle it case by case. Martin Lewis has publicly criticized exactly this, calling the postcode lottery on backdating unfair. So the practical rule is this: backdating is possible, it can be very large, and the deciding factor is evidence. If you can show when the diagnosis was made and when the qualifying benefit started, you can argue the person met the criteria from that date, and you ask the council, in writing, to backdate to that date. Do not ask whether they backdate. State the date the criteria were met, attach the evidence, and request the refund from that date. One more thing you should know. Councils do get this wrong. The Local Government Ombudsman has published decisions involving councils mishandling SMI cases, including Manchester and Greenwich. So if your application is refused and you believe the person qualifies, you do not just accept it. Disputes about entitlement go to the Valuation Tribunal, which is free to use. You are not asking the council for a favour. The law already grants this, and your job is only to prove it. Which brings us to the final piece, the exact steps to take this week. Here is your action plan. In order, Step 1, search your council's name, plus the words Severe Mental Impairment Council Tax. Every council in England handles its own applications, and most have a page and a form for this. Step 2, get the medical certificate. Download the council's SMI form if they have one. Take it to the GP and ask them to certify the impairment as severe and permanent. Some practices sign it for free. Some charge a small fee. Step 3, gather proof of the qualifying benefit, such as the attendance allowance or PIP award letter. If the benefit has never been claimed but the person would qualify, claim the benefit first. Step 4, submit everything to the council and include a clear written request for backdating to the date the criteria were first met, with the diagnosis date and the benefit start date as your evidence. Step 5, keep paying the current bill while they decide. The council will adjust the account and refund the difference if approved. And Step 6, if they refuse and you believe they are wrong, appeal to the Valuation Tribunal. That is the whole process. 2 documents, 1 application, 1 letter about backdating. Caring for someone with dementia is exhausting, expensive, and often invisible. This is one of the few places where the system actually owes your family something, and the only reason most people never receive it is that nobody told them to ask. Now you know. So here is what I want you to do. If this applies to your family, start step 1 today. It takes 5 minutes. If it does not apply to you, think of one person it might, someone caring for a parent or a partner, and send them this video. That one share could genuinely be worth thousands of pounds to them. And if you want more of the benefits and refunds the UK system never advertises, subscribe, because next week I am covering another payment that families miss for years. I will see you there.